warrior, I want to talk to you about two films that are currently out in movie theaters. And I think it's very important. It's the summertime. We're actually halfway done with the summer, that we review two films that there's a lot of chit chat about. Now, just stay with me on this one. Don't turn this off. I want everybody to hear this. Right now, a lot of talk about Sound of Freedom. And if you're following the Warriors, I'm in favor of the movie. Remember, the bottom line for me is if we can open up the conversation, if we can raise awareness, if we can talk about the realities, everybody, of trafficking, child sex trafficking, child labor, child sexual exploitation, online, real time, then I'm all for anything. So let's leave that for a minute and let's talk about Barbie. A lot of hype around Barbie. Barbie, iconic. Everybody knows the brand. Been around since the 1950s. A lot of anticipation going into this movie. They would, of course, it's PR and marketing. Starting about a year ago, I would hear things. And I've just been keeping an eye on it because parents will always ask me, what do you think of? Women my age were talking about the Barbie movie, and all ages in between. And I heard a couple of interesting things. First, any of the trailers or promotional materials I've seen in about the last 6 months just seem like a fluffy, everything pink, kind of fun movie starring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. Didn't think anything about it. Fast forward, summer opened about, I don't know, maybe it opened sometime around now, a week or two ago. And prior to opening, all of a sudden it was unleashed on the American people. Why, after all, diversity in Barbies. Okay, that's all right. A non-binary Barbie. All right. Not for me, but okay. And then the story started unfolding. And there's a lot of hidden messages in Barbie. There's a lot of sexual innuendo. It doesn't show any kind of sexual anything. But it's really not for kids. And it disheartens me when I read reviews that say, well, bring the kids because these things will go over their heads. I dare say no. I say this is part of the normalization of the sexualization of our children, habituating them, and you as the adult bringing them that this is okay in society, and it is not. And I think if you're watching this, you know what I mean. Now, who should go to a movie like this? I can't tell you what to do. Parental autonomy is here, has been here, despite what our government's telling you, despite what the school system is telling you, you are in control of your child. And so use your judgment. I'm just here to warn you. Do a little research on Barbie. You're not going to find much, but the reviews, I saw a couple of reviews bringing up these, sexual innuendo, non-binary, but they bring the kids anyway. I'm not agreeing with that. So Barbie, again, is part of today's cultural landscape being forced upon us that, interestingly enough, I know few people across the United States, and I'm sitting here in the middle of New York City, that like any of this culture. There is that W word I don't like to use, woke. I don't like the word woke because it is anything but all of these agendas woke. So keep an eye on Barbie. Don't be bringing 5 and 6-year-olds. Again, I can't tell you what to do. Having Barbie birthday parties. Know what this is about going into it. And why? Why would they do this? An iconic brand? Because everybody is getting involved pretty much with this CEI, corporate equity inclusion. And they're not worried about losing. A lot of people have said, with the Bud Light, Kohl's, for instance, even Ulta Cosmetics, all these different brands, Target, we certainly know. Why would they lose all this money? It is a drop in the bucket, as I've been researching, and it's been explained to me what they are losing now as what they will gain going forward. Because these globalist programs of inclusion and equity are all around us. That is the push today, but you know that. So keep an eye on the Barbie. Now let's talk about Sound of Freedom. I am of the mind, you see it, you don't see it, it's your choice. Reasonable? I am amazed at how many people, how many organizations, how many nonprofits, people saying and are working in human trafficking, sexual exploitation, who have come out to knock this movie. Why, after all, first I was a little bit shocked that many people I work with, because remember, the work we do at the Warriors, it is bipartisan, belongs to no political group. It is about raising awareness, educating human trafficking, sexual exploitation, mobilizing communities, grassroots involvement, and working on changing policy law. But I was so surprised that none of the groups I do work with, associate with, not a peep, nothing about Sound of Freedom. Now it's been out 2 weeks now, open July 4th. And I thought, wow. Granted, it takes place primarily Mexico, Colombia, and I don't want to give it away if you haven't seen the movie. But who could not be on board with supporting this movie, talking about it, giving it a push, sharing it online? Nothing. 2 days ago, no, it was yesterday actually, I woke up and I started seeing, because I guess the marching orders were given out, people started saying horrendous things. This movie is purely exploitation. This movie is abusing the children, the child actors in the movie. This movie is I don't want to go into it. Jim Caviezel, the actor who portrays the character of Tim Ballard, who founded Operation Underground Railroad. He was involved years ago in a movie called Passion of the Christ. I don't know if any of you remember that, 2004. A lot of controversy around that, but so be it. Mel Gibson, a lot of controversy around him, producing it, financing it, because Mel couldn't find a studio at the time. So the story goes, for putting this movie out. So, very religious man, or he tells us he is, Jim Caviezel. And then we also have Tim Ballard, the real person, father of 6, a couple of adopted kids, also. And they say, God's children are not for sale. What's wrong with that? No child, no person should be bought and sold like chattel. So when I saw this yesterday morning, I was shocked. I woke up to it. Why? Just don't see it. Just don't talk about it. Just don't do anything. Why discredit something? But remember, you only take flack when you're over the target. My husband has taught me that, and it sticks with me every day. And then I was interviewing somebody yesterday about the Hollywood strike on my daily program, State of the Nation, which a little bit of a different flavor from my Warriors work. We incorporate 6 different guests in 2 hours. It could be a politician. It could be about the economy. It could be about Sound of Freedom, Barbie. We mix it all up. It's the State of the Nation. And she's based out in Hollywood, and she's a casting director and a producer, and we're talking about the strike. And she said something very interesting. She said, the actors, of course, are being jerked around. And I know people say, I don't care about actors. I don't care. You should care, only because, once again, and this is a separate program, there is the consolidation in the entertainment industry. There are people being displaced. You could see everything just slowly. It's all going online. It's all streaming. I've seen that clearly for over a decade now. Movie theaters are hard to fill. So when a film like Sound of Freedom comes along and is doing well at the box office, everybody should be happy. It's building momentum for the industry. And they should also note the paid forward program, which Sound of Freedom is using, could be a model, I dare say, working in this business for many decades. And the way everything has shifted, I would use that model. I would do a paid forward program because it is proven with Sound of Freedom. We will have a paid forward program. You can buy your own ticket. You can buy an additional ticket for somebody who can't afford one. There's all different scenarios. Very easy to do. There's no questions asked. You can't afford a ticket, you'll get one for free. The goal of the filmmakers for Sound of Freedom is that you see Sound of Freedom. is that you start to understand this is the reality: child sex trafficking. It goes in a lot of different directions we're not even touching upon. In real life, the movie is about child sex trafficking and how easily a father is separated from his two children, wanting better for them. And that is usually the scenario: somebody wanting better, whether it's that person running away from a bad situation, maybe a teenager wanting better. Children whose parents want better for them. Parents desperate. This is not any type of excuse, so don't misread this. There are many, many children being sold by their own parents. Again, like chattel, to pay rent, to buy food. Familial trafficking. And it repeats generations. I think those are the toughest cases I see. It's family business: grandma, mom, daughter. Then the daughter could be 20 having a baby. That baby's put into it. This is the United States of America. This is horrendous. So the pay it forward, the good news is most of the tickets for Sound of Freedom are being bought. People are actually buying them, not relying on the free ticket, but certainly Angel Studios, it's right there. Go online, get your free ticket. The goal, again, the filmmakers want you to see the movie. And they're doing amazingly well, marching towards 90 million, probably by the time you listen to this, plus 90 million. So I dare say every film should be doing this. And this producer, casting director yesterday was telling us that, the strike and this and that, we were talking about the future of AI and what's, health insurance for actors, all kinds of things. Because you have to remember, most actors can't even afford, they don't work enough to qualify. They don't make 26, I think it's 26,000 a year to qualify for the SAG-AFTRA healthcare. So picketing, always, what's it about, everybody? You always follow the money. But she was saying they were supposed to settle up 2 weeks ago. They didn't, because there was a lot of talk behind the scenes that 2 movies were opening: Oppenheimer and Barbie. And they didn't want to strike when they had those movies opening. Interesting. And I started thinking about it. Yeah, because they were going to France, and they're in Hollywood, and they're in New York. And these actors have to show their solidarity, and they're not going to cross a picket line. Therefore, they're not going to walk a red carpet. They're not going to promote a movie. They're going to do zero. And it made a lot of sense to me. So a couple of weeks ago, the union was being held up, and they thought they might have a deal on the table. And then I heard it was, they were stringing it along. They just wanted Barbie and Oppenheimer. And they actually did a lot of cross promotion, the 2 movies. And I'm thinking, wow. And of course, as of 2 days ago, how brave are they? The actors walked off of their red carpet, and okay, whatever. The bottom line here is something Breitbart said, and there's been different variations of this, but it goes something like this. Politics is downstream from entertainment. Now think about that. It's all interconnected. We haven't even begun with the trafficking and the realities of telling you what's going on. It's 2023. A movie like Sound of Freedom isn't bothering anybody. Just don't go see it. Just don't talk about it. Mainstream media has pretty much bashed it. Those in, and I say quote unquote, Hollywood have bashed it. Where's the entertainment industry to stand up for it? Yeah, sure. You have Mira Sorvino and a handful of actors who've come out in support. It has been called a conspiracy theory full of exploitation, garbage, junk. Make up your own mind. Remember, when en masse people put something down, that means go see it or go do it, because just do the opposite. That's whatever they tell you to do, always do the opposite. Go see Sound of Freedom. Make up your own mind. Get a free ticket. Barbie, that's up to you. I wouldn't waste my pennies on that one. I'm going to stick with the old Barbie I grew up with. And I'll leave it at that. The point of this, though, before we sign off, is you must become aware. Every facet of our children's lives, our lives, we are being directed, thrown towards these agendas. I clearly see it, and I see it speeding up every day. A movie is not just a movie. A book is not just a book. A teacher is not just a teacher. Dig deeper, do your homework, talk to your children. They know what's going on, age appropriately, especially our teens. They are suffering. They need us. They are vulnerable. They're being brainwashed with garbage, online, dangerous algorithms directing them. They're exhausted. Hug them, kiss them, talk about other things. Put those devices down an hour a day, but you have to do it too as the adult. And as far as the movies, you have a teenager, I will say Sound of Freedom is not salacious. Going into the movie, I wondered how would they actually handle child sex trafficking? Because as we know today, everybody goes for the clicks, the likes, the sexy. It was very well done. Things were implied, nothing was shown, nothing inappropriate. Make up your own mind. Be a leader, don't be a follower. And remember, today and every day, always be a warrior.